Peace, peace, family. Welcome to another great class section, Pharaoh Allah University. Now, today's class is going to be about disproving the flat earth theory. Now, this video right here is upon request as well as upon my own personal build. So, this video is going to go not only into the flat earth theory itself, but as far as dimensions and the angular significance of numbers, as well as physical law. Now, let's begin. Flat earth. Okay. Now, when we're dealing with the flat earth, family, first and foremost, we have to understand that it is physically impossible for the earth to be flat. And I'll tell you why right now. Now, I'm going to use another color opposed to black because apparently my black marker acting like it wants to run out. So with that being said, first of all, anything that has gravity has to be three-dimensional, which means it has to have length times width times height. It can't just have height. It can't just have length. It can't just have length and height. It has to have length times width times height. Now let me prove my point. 1, 2, 3. Now, number 1 states number 1 equals length. Number 2 equals length and height. Number 3 equals length, height, width. Now, why is this important? Because anything with length, height, and width, let me get over here so I can make sure y'all can see that real quick. So, anything with length, height, and width is three-dimensional. Something does not manifest gravity until it has length, height, and width. Now, watch me show and prove this. Now, for number 1, something with length would just be a line. We can agree with that. This is not yet physical. This would be the metaphysical realm. This would be the thoughts. This would be electrical currents. This would be level 1. This would be one-dimensional existence. 2, length and height. A L shape. That yet does not have gravity. This is the spiritual realm forming into the physical realm. This is flat. So, matter of fact, allow me to draw shapes for this as I go. So, equal signs here. Something with length times width times height has length, height. Something with length, height, and width, also is three-dimensional, which would be the form of the physical realm. So, the physical realm does not obtain gravity until it gets length, height, and width. Now, allow me to show you the shapes of what I'm speaking about. Something that's one-dimensional, okay, equal signs. Something that's one-dimensional does not have any gravity. It's not physical. It's only a line. Something that's two-dimensional, length and height, would only be a flat shape. For example, this square right here has length and it has height. It has no width. It has no mass. Now, when we get to something that's length times width times height, we draw the length, we draw the height. Now when we get to drawing the width, you see we can create a three-dimensional shape because it has width. The angle goes outside of length and height. In this particular moment, it's a 45-degree angle we're going to use as our width, and this gives us a cube. So when we get to 1 dimension, we have nothing but the thought. 2 dimension is the portal of the thought. 3 dimension is the actual thought manifested in the material realm. Now, 2 points I'm finna prove. When we're dealing with length and height, aka two-dimensional, first and foremost, family, let me show y'all what I'm talking about. I'm gonna keep them shapes up there, and I'm gonna move these numbers over. As you can see, with number 1, 2, and 3. Now, how do we, before I even break down how thoughts, one-dimensional things manifest into three-dimensional things, we have to understand where are we getting these numbers from. Where are we getting these, let me grab something real quick. We have to understand where are we getting these understandings on dimensions. Well, you have to understand how numbers work. Numbers are what? Numbers equals angles. You see, it's all mathematics. Numbers are nothing more than angles. So anything that's one dimension is what? The number 1. You see, the number 1 has what? One angle. That's it. It's that simple. Something's one dimensional. Why? It has one angle. Now, erasing the number 1. Get that. Make sure that zoom in on that, please, so that they can see this one angle. So I can make sure the family see this. You see this number 1 has one angle right here. This 145-degree angle right here within the 1. That's what makes it 1. Now, when we draw the number 2, how our ancestors drew the number 2 is because it had 2 angles. It looks like a Z. So that's how we get 2. So when you're counting something, you never ask yourself, what is it actually that I'm counting? You're counting the angles inside of a line. And it is from these angles which you build. So now, getting on my last angle that I'm using, because we can go on and on in all the numbers, we're going to stop at 3. You see in the number 3, you have 1, 2, 3 angles. The little indentation, it looks like little miniature C's or curves I put in the angles for you to notice. You have 1, 2, 3 angles inside of the number 3. Depending upon how many angles an object has, once again, 1, 2, 3 angles. Depending upon the amount of angles that an object has determines its level of density. Now, why is this important? Because you say the earth is flat. It is impossible for the earth to be flat because it is a 3-dimensional shape. And with that being said, due to the density level of the planet Earth, since it is a 3-dimensional shape, it would be a sphere, which would be a round globe. Because if it was 2-dimensional, it would be a circle, a flat circle. Now, why is this important? Because angles manifest energy. When you're at level 2, density level 2, or angular level 2, you only have length and height. And anything with length and height is the portal. It is the medium for which the spiritual realm interacts with the physical realm. For example, anything that you enter in will always only have length and height with no width. It will be 2-dimensional. For example, when you walk through your doorway, it's flat. If you go right now in your house and look at the doorway, it's not 3-dimensional. It's not a big giant cube. It's a rectangle and you enter it. Even when you look at water, the surface of water is flat and you can enter it. Anything that you will enter will always be 2-dimensional, length and height. There will be no 3-dimension. Anything 3-dimensional is the spiritual realm entering through the 2-dimension, the length and height, coming into physical existence. So the earth is a tangible physical entity and is comprised of 3 angles or more. It is a 3-dimensional entity which makes it a sphere by default for 1. Now, once again, level 2 is a portal. Anything that has length and height only is a portal. You can enter into it. Anything with a flat surface. Once again, as you see this square right here, before I move on so y'all can get this in y'all minds, this square, level 2, only has length and height. Length and height, which causes it to be a flat shape. And this is a portal. You can walk through it. Anything that is flat is nothing more than a transitioning energy. It allows you to move from one space in the universe to and occupy another space in the universe. So now getting back to the point. That for one, just to shut it down, is why the earth can't be flat, because it's a 3-dimensional manifestation. Now for 2, when you, depending upon how many angles an object possesses, depends upon the physical law that it becomes subject to. Just like black people, we are spherical. Our fingers spiral. Even when you make a fist, your hand spirals into a fist as you open and close it. When you punch, your arm spirals. My locks spiral. My eyeballs spiral. the fingerprints on your hand spiral. Everything spirals. Everything is spherical. Why? Because as I said, when you come into three-dimensional existence, you become physical through the sphere. We understand that anything that circles in different shapes hold different energies, as I break down without me going into. If you go watch my video, Shapes and Energies, I elaborate on this. Pharaoh Shapes and Energies on YouTube. So now, assuming that you've watched that video, I can go into this. The circle, as we know, cycles and allows energy to flow. So as our spirit flows into physical condensation, aka light becomes melanin is condensed sunlight, we have a spherical projection. So now, with that being said, anything that is spherical comes and accumulates gravity. We understand that two objects which have mass create gravity. Unless you are three-dimensional, length, height, and width, the width included, you do not have a mass. Because anything below the level 3 or 3 angles does not have a density level which is powerful enough to accumulate such a mass. So with that being said, not only is the earth spherical because it's three-dimensional, it's three-dimensional because it has a mass. That proves that it's spherical. Now, how do we prove this? Because the earth, right? Let's draw the earth. Let's draw a circle earth versus a flat earth. So now, we're going to draw the earth's core. Iron, iron. We understand that what? Light is what? Electricity and magnetism. Magnetism is going to be very relevant for what I'm about to say. Because when we look at the sun, we're taught over masculinity by the Caucasian. We taught that the sun shines light on the earth, right? Now, this is only partly correct, depending upon your perspective, because we also understand that the black woman is the earth is a giant female, and the sun is a giant black man. So with that being said, is the sun shining light on the earth, or is the earth attracting the attention of the sun? And I'm asking you that because of this. We see stars. Every star is the sun. But every star doesn't project a direct beam of light towards our planet. It just looks like a flary ball. So what is it that causes the sun to project a direct light stream to us? Because now we have to ask ourselves, is the sun projecting its energy, or is its energy being pulled? Because if you ask me, I'm going to tell you its energy is being pulled. It's both. But for the most part, its energy is being pulled. Why? We have to look at how the earth came into existence. And I'm giving you a picture of the earth right now before I create it, so that you can have it instilled in your head. Now, we're going to use red to denote the sun here. In fact, let me get all this out of my way. Let me get everything out of my way. Okay, now, this is the sun. Boom. You got your sun. Now, we understand how planets are created, right? At some point in time, this sun is going to explode. And it's going to shatter elements all across the universe. Right? I'm giving you the visual. Now, this is stage 1. The sun explodes and it bursts. And it sends elements all across the universe. Copper, hydrogen, helium, iron. We're going to be focused on iron here. So now these elements travel billions of light years away from other elements, right? And what happens is they come in contact with another sun. Now this is why this is going to be important, y'all. Pay attention. Now the elements I'm going to use here that's supposed to represent the ones that came from the sun that just exploded, I'm going to use green. So that we can understand that these are the same elements. I'm just using a different color so that you see. So now these elements travel across the universe. And what happens is the iron, which is what? Magnetic, magnetized, gravity. Remember, the sun is what? Electricity and magnetism. The iron that is floating through space, wrong color. The iron that is floating through space attracts the magnetism within the sun. And what happens? This iron begins to pull. It begins to pull at the sun, at the magnetism within the rays of light. And this pull, as the iron is pulling on the magnetism on the rays of light of the sun, guess what it causes it to do? To get caught up in the sun's gravitational pull and begin to revolve around it. And not only does it begin to revolve around the sun because it's pulling, now it's also rotating. So now as it's rotating, guess what these elements are doing? They're blending together. Just like food or you put fruit in a smoothie. They blend. So now you have iron, copper, sulfur, carbon, all of the ingredients in the middle of the earth blending together. And eventually this spiral here of all these elements, which are now pulling at the planet Earth, the planet Earth pulling at the sun. See these spirals right here that I'm creating? All of these elements right now are in a stage of becoming a planet. They're all blending and blending and blending because the iron, let me draw blue. I'm going to use blue. Let me use blue for iron. The iron in the middle of these elements right there, family, is attracting the magnetism of the sun due to it being an X-sun which exploded and came across the universe and got caught up in another sun. And now it is the magnetism is creating gravity, and this gravity is causing these elements to get caught up in the gravitational pull of this sun, as well as revolve and create into what we call a planet. This specific planet is going to be planet Earth. So now, at the billions and trillions of years of elemental mixture, we now have what you call the planet Earth. Carbon and hydrogen have mixed to become water, so on and so forth. We got all these different animals. Now we got the planet Earth, and in the Earth's core, due to nitrogen and other elements, we have the Earth's core. So now, what did we just prove? We just proved that not only is the Earth a three-dimensional entity, which it makes it a sphere, we just proved that it's a sphere due to its creation. If you don't believe that anything that swirls into creation is 3D, and you can't look at yourself and see that your hand and your body swirls, even when your blood pumps through your veins, it pumps in a spiral, then all you have to do is look at the Earth. Go outside, take some dirt, or go to the store and take some Play-Doh, and swirl it into a ball in your hands, and tell me if it come out flat, or tell me if it come out as a sphere. The very way that the Earth was created would denote that it's a sphere. It's not flat. You can't rub or you can't swirl a flat circle. It has to be a swirl. So the physical law that the Earth is subjected to due to its direct mode of creation would only allow it to be a sphere because it was swirled into creation due to gravity. Now the last point I want to make, proving that the Earth is not flat, is because it has gravity, because it has a physical mass as a three-dimensional shape. So now let's draw, family, let's draw a spherical Earth. This Earth right here is going to be symbolic to a sphere. I'm going to put the lines. I know the other Earths I've been drawing been flat, y'all, but y'all got to bear with me. Okay, this is the 3D Earth, 3D. And this is the flat Earth y'all fools is talking about. Okay, so if the Earth is flat, it's impossible for it to be flat. The best flat Earth that I can even draw would still look something like this. If y'all want to say it's flat, the only way the Earth can be flat is going to have to look something like this. And this is kind of like a cylinder, or this is kind of like a cylinder, I guess you can say, or like a damn ice cream sandwich. So now, so you're saying that we live on a flat Earth. If we did, here's people. So why is the Earth's core, which is 6,000 degrees, if it's flat, that means it's directly under our feet, why is it not scorching us? Why are we not being destroyed? Why is water not running off the sides of the planet Earth? If it's flat, water will pour off it. So now with that being said, when we understand that For the